My name is Emily, and for as long as I can remember, I lived in my younger sister Lily's shadow. She wasn't a bad person. She was simply my father's favorite. If Lily won a school competition, Dad celebrated for days. If I brought home perfect grades, he smiled politely and changed the subject. When Lily wanted expensive dance lessons, he found the money. When I dreamed of studying art, he told me to be realistic. Growing up, I convinced myself it didn't matter. I had my mother. She always whispered, "Your worth isn't measured by who notices you." Those words became my shelter. But when Mom passed away after a short illness, everything changed. Dad became even more attached to Lily. It was as if I had disappeared from the family completely. Years later, I met Daniel. He was kind, patient, and the first person who truly made me feel seen. When he proposed under the old oak tree where we had our first picnic, I cried before I could even answer. "Yes," I whispered. It felt like life was finally giving me something beautiful. Planning the wedding wasn't easy. Daniel's family helped however they could. My father barely showed any interest. Whenever I called to discuss the ceremony, he sounded distracted. "I'm busy," he'd say. "Talk to your sister." Eventually, I stopped expecting anything. Still, I wanted him there. No matter how distant he'd become, he was still my father. The morning of the wedding arrived. The venue overlooked a peaceful lake, with white flowers lining the aisle. Everything looked exactly as I had imagined. Guests smiled. Music floated softly through the air. I stood in the bridal suite wearing my mother's necklace. It was the only thing I had left of her. My maid of honor checked her phone. "Emily, has your dad left yet? He said he'd be here by 11. It was already 11:30. I called him. No answer. Again, nothing. A knot formed in my stomach. Then my phone buzzed. A message. "I'm sorry. Lily needs me today. Something important came up. You'll understand." That was it. No explanation. No apology worth believing. Just those few words. I stared at the screen until everything became blurry. Lily. Again. Always Lily. I felt years of disappointment crashing over me all at once. My makeup artist quietly handed me a tissue. "I'm so sorry." I couldn't even cry properly. I just sat there, completely empty. Outside, guests began wondering why the ceremony hadn't started. Daniel knocked gently. "Can I come in?" When he saw my face, he already knew something was wrong. "He isn't coming, is he?" I slowly shook my head. Daniel wrapped his arms around me. "You don't have to prove anything to anyone today. But who will walk me down the aisle?" I whispered. It was supposed to be him. Silence filled the room. Then someone knocked again. The wedding coordinator opened the door. "There is someone asking to speak with the bride." I frowned. I don't know anyone else. Standing outside was an older man in a navy suit. His silver hair was neatly combed. He looked nervous. "I'm terribly sorry for interrupting." I couldn't help overhearing what happened. "My name is Arthur. I served with your late grandfather many years ago." I blinked in surprise. "My grandfather." He smiled sadly. "He once saved my life. I came today because I received your wedding invitation months ago. I wasn't sure you'd even remember me." I honestly didn't. I had been very young. Arthur looked at the floor. "I know this may sound strange, but no bride should walk alone. If you'll allow me, it would be an honor to escort you." The room became completely silent. Daniel squeezed my hand. I searched Arthur's eyes. There was no pity, no obligation, only kindness, something my own father had forgotten. After a long moment, I smiled through tears. "I'd like that." Arthur offered his arm. "Ready?" I nodded. The music began. The doors opened. Every guest stood. As we walked slowly toward the aisle, I felt an unexpected sense of peace. Arthur whispered quietly, "Your grandfather spoke about you all the time. He said you had your grandmother's courage." My heart ached. I hope I make him proud. "You already have." By the time we reached the altar, many guests were wiping away tears. Daniel looked at me as though I were the only person in the world. That was enough. More than enough. The ceremony was beautiful. We exchanged vows, laughed, cried, promised to choose each other every single day. When the officiant announced us husband and wife, applause filled the garden. For the first time in years, I felt completely loved. During the reception, everyone wanted to meet Arthur. He never tried to steal attention. Whenever someone thanked him, he simply replied, "I only did what anyone should have done." Late that evening, my phone rang. "Dad." I stared at the screen before answering. "Emily." His voice sounded rushed. "How did everything go?" I couldn't believe the question. "You really don't know. Lily's car broke down. I had to help." I took a slow breath. My wedding happened anyway. He was quiet. I'll make it up to you. No, I answered calmly. You won't. Another silence. Then he finally asked, are you angry? I looked across the room. Daniel was dancing with Arthur while everyone laughed. A sight I never expected to see. I'm not angry anymore. I'm just finished waiting for you to choose me. He tried to explain, to justify, to promise, but something inside me had already changed. I hope Lily always appreciates what you've sacrificed for her. Then I ended the call. Months passed. Life settled into a comfortable rhythm. Daniel and I bought a small house with blue shutters and a tiny garden. Arthur became part of our lives. Every Sunday he joined us for lunch. He taught Daniel how to repair old furniture. He showed me photographs of my grandfather from decades ago. Through him, I learned stories my father had never bothered to tell. One afternoon Arthur admitted something. I never had children. My wife and I tried for years. It simply wasn't meant to be. He smiled warmly, but somehow life still gave me family. I reached across the table and squeezed his hand. You gave me away on my wedding day. You'll always be family. His eyes filled with tears. So will you. Nearly a year later, I received another message. Dad had suffered a mild heart attack. Nothing life-threatening, just enough to make him think differently. He asked if we could meet. I agreed, not because everything had been forgiven, but because carrying bitterness forever is exhausting. When I arrived, he looked older than I remembered. His confidence had faded. I'm sorry, he said it quietly. I spent years trying to protect Lily because she always seemed fragile. I forgot you needed your father too. I listened, without interrupting. I can't change what happened. He continued, but I wish I could. I thought about the empty chair at my wedding. About Arthur's steady arm. About Daniel waiting patiently at the altar. You missed one of the most important days of my life. Dad lowered his head. I know. I don't expect forgiveness. I only hope, someday, we can start again. Healing isn't a single moment. It's a choice made little by little. I didn't promise everything would be the same. Because it couldn't. Some wounds leave scars forever. But scars don't always have to hurt. As I walked back to my car, I realized something my mother had tried to teach me years ago. Love isn't proven by blood. It's proven by presence. The people who stay, the people who show up, the people who choose you. Those are the ones who become your real family. And on the day my own father failed to stand beside me, a stranger reminded me that kindness can rewrite even the most painful stories. Sometimes, the family we find, becomes the family we were always meant to have.